Hello everyone, and a very warm welcome back to my channel and to today's video, which is slightly different to my usual type. I am going to be talking about my top tips for your first week with your new puppy, or just top tips for having a new puppy in general. I want to stress that I am absolutely no expert when it comes to dog training, to having a dog. Like, we had family dogs growing up, but this is the first dog I've had in adulthood, so I'm by no means any expert, but I have read so much, I have Googled so much, I have talked to friends. It's all I actually talk about at the moment is this puppy. So I feel like if someone had told me these top tips in the beginning, I would have found it really useful. So hopefully, if you have a new puppy or you're thinking about getting one, you might find them useful too. So if you missed our announcement, it's like having a baby. We have a new family puppy. His name is Rolo. He was named by our children, who just loved the name Rolo. We have been talking about getting a dog for a really long time, as in my children have been planning this dog's name before they even officially knew they were getting a dog. So it's something that's been a very long time coming for us. We've talked about it on and off for years, and we just always decided it was the wrong time and it wasn't quite the right time for us. And then we decided this year, 2020, was going to be the year that we got our family puppy. So like I said, his name is Rolo. He is 10 weeks tomorrow, so he turns a new week on a Friday, so 10 weeks tomorrow as I'm filming this, and he's just lovely. He is a chocolate Labradoodle. We really researched the breeds that we kind of were on our shortlist a lot, and we decided upon the Labradoodle for many different reasons, just because they're very active dogs, they like a lot of exercise, and we're a very active family. My mum has got a Cockapoo, which was also on our shortlist, but we decided in the end to go for the Labradoodle. So far, he is proving to be a lovely, lovely dog. It is not without its hard work, let me tell you, which I will talk about in a minute. But so far, we're getting on really well, and he is such a lovely addition to the family. He's also got a little bit of a family connection, because we decided ages ago to go on the wait list for a breeder who has my kids' godmother's half brother came from the same breeder. So it's just a nice family connection. They haven't met yet, actually. They're going to meet soon, and it's just going really well, but it's not without its hard work. So I'm just going to get started with my top tips for the first week with your new puppy. Tip number one is to try as much as you possibly can to plan in advance for your puppy's arrival. So if you are anything like us, we were all literally counting down the days until we were due to get him. We actually didn't tell our kids until just a few days before that we were due to be picking him up.
He's actually going to make me cry. We're going to go and pick up our puppy.
Just because we didn't want to kind of, I don't know, the excitement levels to sort of fade in any sort of way. So we were all so excited, and we really got them involved with the planning and going to the pet shop and things. So we all went to the pet shop together to try and find like the basics that a puppy would need in the beginning. We've since gone back and bought different things as we've realized that we might have forgotten stuff. But in the beginning, we got him a bed, a really cozy bed. We bought him a blanket, although he uses all our old blankets as well. We got him a lead and a collar. We got an initial sort of puppy collar and lead, and we may well change them in the future as he gets bigger. We got him lots of toys, because the kids' favorite thing was to buy him toys. And then we got him a car crate. So we are crate training him. We actually bought his crate from the breeder herself, because we wanted to use one that she recommended. And again, I guess that depends on the breeder. So our breeder actually had things there that you could buy off her if you wanted to. And so we made sure that we got a car crate from the pet shop as well. So Labradoodles, the breed that we have got, are going to grow to be quite large. So we wanted to make sure we had a suitable restraint for him in the car, because legally in the UK, you have to have the dog restrained in some sort of way. So we may well in the future get a harness, because you can use a harness attached to a seatbelt as well. But in the beginning, we got a crate just because we thought that that would be a suitable kind of restraint for him in the car. So we got that. What else did we get? I think that was it in the beginning. Just the usual things that you would kind of expect to get a puppy. And then the breeder, like I said, we got a crate from her because we are crate training. We also made sure that the breeder gave us something with his mum's scent on. So she actually gave us the padding for his crate because that had his mum's scent on and his mum had been lying on it. Other things I did in advance for his arrival are I rang the vet before he even arrived to book him in for some socialization appointments before he had his second lot of vaccinations. He hasn't even had his second lot yet. He's getting them tomorrow, but I wanted to make sure he was familiar with the vet. You can actually go in and just like see the nurse or just sort of get them used to it. So I did that in advance as well. I also made sure I looked into insurance in advance, but again, with our breeder, you got a month's worth of pet plan, I think it was, insurance, but I wanted to look around and make sure, because insurance is obviously really important as well. So I just really sort of tried to plan as much as I possibly could. Silly things to get the kids excited, like the pet shop that we have has a little loyalty scheme, so you get like a little kind of like booklet with the puppy's name on it and stuff. So I did all that kind of thing. We bought him a brush and a toothbrush and just all the things that you would expect to buy a puppy in the beginning. Our breeder also gave us a water bottle, which is really strange. It's not a bowl, it's a water bottle like you would imagine a rabbit or something to have, or a hamster, but that's what they used in the beginning. So it's definitely worth speaking to your breeder in advance to know what your puppy has been used to. So we'll use this for a while and then we will switch to a bowl when he's a little bit bigger. But I wanted to make the transition process as smooth as possible for him. So my second tip kind of follows on from that, and that is buy a lot of toys. I know I already mentioned toys, but puppies get bored and they also want to play, and we have found that we bought a few toys in the beginning, but we've since gone out and bought more, because if he is active and his mind is occupied, he's then not likely to go and try and chew on the corner of the sofa or whatever. So I have found at the moment that there are certain types of toys that our puppy seems to really gravitate towards. Obviously this is different dependent on what dog you have, but I've got a few examples. So Rolo likes things like this, so sort of tuggy toys that he can really chew and sort of pull and things. He loves like bones, anything that he can chew, because they do teeth, so they do get sore teeth, so it's good to get things that they can really gnaw on. We also got him things like this, which I think this one looks a little bit dodgy, but we got him this sort of rubber thing. He loves that. Most of these were from our local garden centre or Pets at Home. He loves this because he's quite a sort of shaky dog. This is like a big snake. And toys are really good as well, because puppies obviously do bite and small children are around. And one thing that I read that is really good to do is if the puppy is biting in play and it's not a serious bite that he needs to sort of like be really reprimanded, rather than biting and sort of trying to gnaw on a child's hand, it's good to have them have a toy in their hand so they can sort of give the puppy the toy and distract him from trying to bite them, if that makes sense. So that's a really good tip. And that works with adults as well. One big toy that he loves that was recommended by our breeder is a Kong. So I think if you know dogs, then you'll probably have heard of Kong. They do really good dog toys. And this is a little puppy one. And what you do is you can put some of his dry food in. One thing that we were recommended was not to give him lots of different rich treats while they're puppies, because obviously their tummies are still so little and it's just not good for them to have lots of different treats, because it might give them upset tummies and things, especially in the beginning when they're getting used to your house. So this Kong is really good because what we do is we put his normal dry food in there and then we put some of this in. So this is Kong Easy Treat, and what it is, it looks almost like some sort of like paste. It's quite gross, and you just, if I show you, you just open it up and you can see it's a little bit like a whipped cream, and you just kind of put it in there and it forms like a barrier, and then they have to lick the barrier, get all the stuff out, and then they can get the treats out at the end of it. So this keeps him really occupied. It's also a really good thing to put in his crate, because then he'll go in his crate for 5 minutes and it's all about getting him associated to his crate. Another thing that I got, which was from Pets at Home. I keep going on about Pets at Home, but it's the only pet shop really near us, bar like a little section in our garden centre, is I got this. This is really good. This is like a feeder, and you put all the food in and it just takes them longer to get it out. So it's just quite a fun way. We sometimes give this to him for his lunch. So our puppy is on 3 meals a day at the moment still. And for lunchtime, just to mix it up, I'll sometimes give his food to him in this. So this is the fun feeder. That's what it's called, fun feeder. And it's really good. So that's quite a fun thing for him. So yeah, like I said, lots and lots of toys in the beginning as well. So my tip number 3 is kind of fully dependent on whether you're doing crate training. We decided to do crate training just because that is what our breeder recommended to us, and also what a lot of friends who have had dogs have recommended as well. I know that crate training is a bit of a love-hate thing. Some people really don't like it, but so far it is doing us such a good thing. It's doing so well. So from the second that he arrived back home with us, we wanted to make his crate a really welcoming spot. So we put the lining in that had his mum's scent on it. We put a bed in there. We put blankets in there. We put lots of toys in there. We also feed him in there. He's got a little bowl that attaches to the crate at the moment. We won't feed him in there forever. When he's a little bit bigger, we will feed him in the kitchen or the utility room, I'm sure. But for the minute, we feed him in his crate to sort of create positive associations with the crate, so he doesn't mind going in there. We also give him water in there, but we do make sure we take his water out at night, because we were told that no water and food about an hour before bed is kind of suitable for a puppy. So we take the water out at night, because otherwise if the water is in there it might encourage accidents and things. So far he has never had an accident, either a wee or a poo, in his crate, so we're obviously doing something right there. He associates his crate with being a really positive and safe space. He's never once, I think to be fair, we probably just got a really good puppy in that respect, but he has never once even so much as whined in the night in his crate, and he's already sleeping through the night in his crate as well. So we tend to put him to bed at about 10:30 to 11 o'clock, and he'll go through till 7 o'clock. And I know from having friends with puppies that varies really differently, so I think we're really lucky in that respect. But then he's also really hard work during the day, so it really just depends on the dog. But we're really trying to create a really positive association with the crate. We want him to know that the crate is somewhere that he can go if he needs a bit of a safe space away from the kids, because obviously I have 3 young children. It's really intense for them, and so it's just nice for the dog to have somewhere where he can just go and he knows that that's his safe space. So we're creating lots of positive associations with him. The kids will give him treats in there and just make him really feel like that's his little area that he can go to. We do move the crate around our house, so currently we have actually renovated our house and we have an empty room that we haven't used yet. So at the moment that's kind of his room, but during the day we will also move the crate around the house. I want to get to the stage where he just feels really comfortable in sleeping anywhere, not in his crate during the day, and that does seem to be working. It does seem to be getting easier. At first he just seemed to want to go back into the crate when he was sleeping, but he is now sort of lying down more on the floor or in beds. We've got a couple of beds littered around the house for him, so that does seem to be working. But I think because we've created such a positive, happy place for him in his crate, he's sort of wanted to go in there. And the only time really at the moment he cries in his crate is if he knows he's sort of starting to kind of figure out when we might go out, or he knows. So he will sometimes whine in his crate, never at night, but he does do it during the day sometimes. So it's just really important to keep creating like a positive space for him. So that's in regards to crate training. My next tip is to make sure you take them outside straight away. So I actually did a kind of first day with our puppy vlog, and in it you will see that we used newspaper, and we were trying to put newspaper on the floor to kind of get him to go to the toilet on that. And I had so many messages and things saying you can take him outside in your garden. So I think this is where it depends on who you are and what you agree with and your opinion on this really, but basically a puppy isn't allowed out until after he's had some vaccinations. So in our case, and again I don't know if this varies by dog or by vet, but Rolo won't be allowed out until after he's had his second set of vaccinations. So he will have them at 10 weeks. He's actually got them tomorrow, and then he won't be allowed out for another 2 weeks after that, because he needs to have time for the vaccinations to work. Then he can go out and he can go wherever, and we can start taking him for a walk. But as yet we can't take him for a walk. And when I first got him, I had lots of people, well, I didn't have lots of people, sorry. I actually just had the breeder say to me, don't even let him out in the garden, because there could still be germs in the garden until 12 weeks. So that's why we initially started on newspaper, and then I had so many messages. I spoke to all my family who have had dogs. I spoke to the vet who sort of just kind of didn't advise either way. They just sort of remained quite neutral. I spoke to the dog trainer that we're due to be having puppy classes with. I spoke to so many different people who said as long as you can be pretty sure that no dogs have been in your garden, then it's actually safe for them to go to the toilet in the garden. So we made the decision to put him into the garden, and it's been brilliant. So I would definitely say, obviously this is your own judgment and you need to kind of work out, maybe seek advice from professionals, but we definitely are glad that we decided to go into the garden. So he's only ever been out in our garden. We've not put him on the ground anywhere else, but we're pretty confident that our garden is okay, and it's helping wonders with toilet training and things like that. So he's definitely got into a routine. I'm not going to lie, of course he's still having accidents. He definitely is still having accidents here, there and everywhere in the house, but he really is getting into a routine, and pretty much as soon as he goes outside, he knows that it's time to do a little wee or a little poo. And basically what we have done as well is we've sectioned off an area of gravel in our garden, so he knows at the moment that's his place to go. Whether that always remains to be the case, I don't know, but because I've got young children, I just wanted to make sure that we tried to make him go in the similar spot each time. So we will see how that goes. But at the moment, the accidents tend to be when we've just kind of been caught unawares, we've perhaps not been watching him as much as we should do, or perhaps like we haven't taken him out as often as we should do. But for the most part, as soon as he goes outside, he knows that that is time to go. My next tip is all about routine. So one really big thing that I read was that dogs are similar to humans and children in a way, in that they love a routine, and a routine helps them sort of know what they're doing. And so one big thing that we do, especially around nighttime, is we really have tried to get him into a routine. So we tend to put him to bed about 10:30, anytime between 10 and 11 really, and we really focus on doing the same routine every single night. So the first thing that we do is that the bed that we got him has like a pull out, like microwavable bit, like a little pouch, and we put that in the microwave. We make it all warm so it feels all cozy for him. We'll take him out and make sure that he goes to the toilet, so then he'll be able to hold it more during the night. And then we will dim the lights. We've actually got like a little Google Home, but you could use a radio, I guess. We put on calming music for dogs on YouTube, which is brilliant. We stick that on low for him. We make sure that we cover his crate with a blanket just to make it feel all safe and for him to know that that's nighttime. We never do that during the day if he's in his crate, because we want to associate the blanket going down with it being nighttime. And we don't put the blanket all the way over the crate. We just put it down to about halfway so he can still see out, but it just makes him feel a little bit safe and secure. We just put him in there, we don't make too much fuss, and then we leave. And so far, night times are really good. So I definitely think having a little bit of a routine helps. We try and make sure wherever possible to give his breakfast, lunch and dinner at similar times. What we have been doing as well is we have been making sure that in the morning he goes straight out, then we have a little bit of a run around, and then he has his breakfast while we have our breakfast, because it means that then we can focus on the kids and we can focus on getting ready for school without like having to worry too much about the puppy. So it's all just about getting into little routines, and that has definitely helped for us. My next tip is to socialize them as much as you can in the beginning. So I have been speaking to a dog trainer. Like I mentioned previously, we're going to be starting puppy classes at 12 weeks, but we can't start them until he has had all his jabs and things. And so what I did though, when I contacted the dog trainer, I asked her advice on different things, and she said to really socialize them in the beginning. So take them everywhere. We gave him a few days to settle in, and then we've started taking him out. So we do probably need to take him out a little bit more, but she said just walk him down the main road, obviously in your arms, so he gets used to the traffic. Take him on the school run so he gets used to kids. Take him to the garden centre, which we have done, and we've done the school run a few times, so he gets used to people petting him. Take him to be with other dogs. At the moment we haven't done that because I don't have anybody as yet who I feel fully confident about taking him with. with. So my mum's on holiday and my kid's godmother is on holiday as well, but both of them have dogs. So when they should get back, I'm going to be doing that and taking him to see like other dogs and just socialize him as much as you possibly can in the beginning, because the first few weeks of a puppy's life are really crucial for socialization, because around, I think they said about 16 weeks, they hit the teenage stage, the adolescent stage, and then it's a little bit harder. So definitely in the beginning, socialize them as much as you possibly can. My next tip is to start puppy training as soon as you can. So I watched so many YouTube videos on puppy training. One that I can really recommend is Zach George. I love him. He's like an American guy and he's just brilliant. I really like the way he trains his dogs, but I have watched so many different types of puppy training video. I don't want to say I'm an expert and I don't want to say that I've done loads, but I'm trying to teach Rolo the basic commands in the beginning. So things like sit and things like lie down and paw, which is a bit of a silly one. I'm asking him to sit while he waits for his dinner and just silly things like that. So I think it's going to come more into play when we start puppy training classes, because as yet he hasn't really been out on his lead or anything like that, but I'm really hoping that I can train him well. So that is what I'm trying to do. So I literally started doing that straight away. Silly things as well, like making sure like he sits on you and you brush the fur. You know, we've got a little brush for him because Labradoodles can get quite matted. So just little things to try and help him learn in the beginning. Lie down! Lie down, good boy, good boy. Sit, sit, good boy, good boy, so clever. Sit, good boy, paw, 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 good boy, good boy, good boy. And my last tip, which is a tip and also just a little bit of a chat at the end, is puppies are hard work. And I knew that he was going to be hard work. I knew what we were letting ourselves in for, but I don't think I realized just how much hard work it was going to be. So I have grown up with dogs. I have family who have got dogs. I've got friends who've had puppies really recently, but until you're actually doing it yourself, you don't realize just how much hard work it's going to be. And I think that you see like these lovely Instagram photos of puppies and you think, oh, look at them all cozy and cuddling. And you know, that does happen, but it's also really hard work as well. And I really feel like that should be said more. I had friends and I also had people on Instagram message me in the beginning and say that in the first couple of weeks, they actually genuinely were worried they had made a mistake. I also had one lady say that like she had like puppy blues, which I thought was like a really interesting way of putting it, around day 3 or day 4, where she thought, oh my goodness. And I definitely had that. I think it was actually day 4. I cried. I actually cried because I was like, what have we done? This is really hard work. And I think that that's really important to talk about as well, because I watched a video of a lady, I just randomly clicked on it. If I can find it, I will link to it because it really helped me. And in it, she was talking about like puppy tips and having her puppy for the first time. And she said, similar time around day 3, she got so overwhelmed that if someone had come to her and said, I'll take the puppy from you, she would have been like, fine, take it. She really was struggling. And funnily enough, I actually looked on her Instagram because the video was a couple of years old to see if she still had the dog, and she still had it. And I think that really helped me. So I just think it's really important to talk about it. It is hard work. It is a lifestyle change. It's by no means the same as having a newborn baby. Of course it's not, but it is a baby. It's an animal baby. It's an animal baby that can run around, that can wee and poo without having a nappy on, that has teeth like needles, and that smells a bit. So it's like, it is like having a baby, and it's a really big lifestyle change, and it's all about trying to strengthen your bond, growing together with the dog, and putting routines and practices into place. And I definitely have not, I think it's so important not to lie, struggled a little bit here and there on certain days. And for the last 4 or 5 days, I feel like we've really got into a bit of a routine. Don't get me wrong, he's still a baby. He still wakes up and poos here, there and everywhere, and he's still biting us left, right and centre, and he's not listening because he doesn't know. I haven't taught him all the things yet, you know? So I think it's just really important to acknowledge it. I think it's going to get a lot easier when he can start going out for walks, because he can't go out for a walk for another 2 weeks. I think it's going to be a lot easier when I start puppy training classes with him. But I love him to bits. He has brought so much joy to our family, and I just kind of wanted to put this end bit in. If it is you and you have stumbled upon this video and you're thinking, oh my God, this is hard work, then hopefully I will help you a little bit. I'm only on the very start of my journey myself, but I can already see that it's starting to get easier, and I already feel like I'm doing well, and I'm starting to kind of get to know him, and he's starting to get to know me. And the one thing that I read in a puppy training book, because like I said, I've read loads of different books and things. One book that I read that I thought was really lovely was that you chose to have the puppy. The puppy hasn't come here against, like, of his own accord and has started weeing and pooing and biting your kids. You have brought them into your home because you wanted them, and that is such a big responsibility, and that is something to remember, that if you work hard in the beginning, you'll hopefully be rewarded with a lovely dog in the future. But I just wanted to add that bit at the end because I thought it was really important to acknowledge that it's not just all fluffy puppies like running around on Instagram. It is hard work, and I wish someone had told me just how much hard work it was going to be. And that is it. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. It was a bit of a long rambly one, but I'm going to insert some footage here, there and everywhere of Rolo over the last week. I was going to do more of a sort of puppy, kind of first week with our puppy like vlog, and then I decided tips would probably be better. But I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.